morning, good morning, good morning, good morning.
Check this thing on.
First Guy Omaha Radio, First Guy Omaha in the morning.
In the morning.
Loud and clear.
We live at 85.
A 1-2.
Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up.
Gotta get up. Get up and move your body.
Hey. Move your body. Move your body. Move your body. Don't hurt nobody.
Hurt nobody.
This light's kind of bright. All my spectacles.
Got baby finger smudges on it?
Man. I can see y'all.
Yep.
Oh yeah. Fingers all in your face, in your mouth.
Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. Hopefully you have no fingers in your face and in your mouth. You're listening to First Guy Omaha Radio, First Guy Omaha in the morning.
In the morning.
I'll be the dove, Buddi3 Da Gawd. What's going on?
Yes, sir.
Good morning to y'all. Thanks for joining us on this Wednesday, December 13th, 2023.
Time of God, man. Created life.
There you go. Second to the last show of the season. Feel like
Man.
I might do something funny.
It is.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah. It's getting there. So second to the last show of the season. Like I said before, I am very much looking forward to the break. Need a little vacation time.
It's about that time.
Most def.
Yeah, smell the coffee, recalibrate a little bit.
Yeah, just a tinch. We still got a lot of work to do over the break, but at least we'll be able to sleep in a couple days. So
yeah. If the body allows us.
that's the thing too. Pretty much got an internal clock going on. But welcome. Thank you to the radio listeners this morning as well. I was just getting ready to give a shout out to the 630 crew. Put some new music on last night, so I hope you enjoyed the mix this morning. And thanks for joining us, chat chimers, ghost listeners, everybody that's coming on in this morning. I see people getting up early with us, giving us the good mornings. Appreciate that very much. Pop says, good Wednesday morning to all. Mad love from Las Vegas. Right on, Pop.
Top of the morning to you, Pops.
Larry Keisha said, what's up Wednesday? Yep.
What's happening?
That's the question. What is happening? There's a lot happening, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wanda Lewis gives us a good morning. Good morning to you. Appreciate you coming on in. Tamika Johnson gives us a good morning and some sunshine. I appreciate that. Kimra Snipes says, good morning, y'all. Good morning, Kimra. What's going on? So we have Facebook and YouTube in the house. That's what's up. Mira Sanchez says, I'm like Lotto. I'm in it to win it. Heard that.
Hey, getting in where you fitting in.
Loved it. Okay, got some good feedback from the radio crew. Appreciate you very much.
Okay.
Love the new stuff this morning. Put some new Terrace Martin on.
Yeah.
Watched that interview that you sent me last night, and I was like, wow, powerful, first of all.
You're welcome.
And second of all, the man is just a machine. He's I thought we had his latest release. He had 2 more after that I didn't know about.
Yeah, man. Yeah. So definitely, as you see in the interview, he's been in the studio. So yeah. If y'all, if you're interested, definitely check out the latest Terrace Martin interview. A lot of Omaha love in there. Shout out to Long Live Curly Martin. Shout out to Calvin Keys. Yeah.
Yep. Lots of Omaha love. Even mentioned as some of the most talented that we haven't even seen the most talented cats he's been across, and mentioned Omaha in that list.
Yep.
So yeah, that's what's up, man. Shout out to Terrace Martin. Shout out to of course Curly Martin. Rest in peace. Got me a little emotional, man. I was a little emotional about that when he started talking about Curly.
Yeah,
Man,
yeah. How you have to, after that, got to call your pops. Like, man,
man, for real. So I'm glad Pops is in the chat, man. Appreciate
yeah,
you
yeah, yeah,
getting up
yeah.
early with us. We got Jay Carter in the chat saying, "Great
Hey,
Wednesday morning, Warriors of broadcast excellence." Whoa,
okay,
okay, new T-shirt idea, love it.
man.
Appreciate that.
Thank you, thank you.
Kimmer Snipe says, "We need our Women's Wednesday back." Shout outs to the Whack crew for keeping Paul out last night. Yeah, I'm tired.
Oh, you got into some trouble last night.
I'm tired, boss. Oh, yeah.
Some good trouble, some good trouble.
Shout out to Kimmer and One Omaha, man. They put on an event last night at Benson Theater. It was like glad I didn't miss it.
Oh yeah,
They
yeah.
had their party. Had Brent Crampton from from the House of Loom DJing.
Okay.
I was like, man, that's what's up. They draw a good crowd for a nonprofit organization.
Now,
And,
okay, one Omaha gets down.
they get down and they gave away some awards to some folks. Actually, Johnny No Good won something. You know what I'm saying? So they
Okay.
did some good recognizing of neighborhood, neighborhood work, and it was nice. It was good. It was a good vibe last night. Whole Benson Theater crew was proud, was all about it. So yeah, it was great. So
Yeah.
it was yeah. Shout out to Kimber for putting on a dope event, and the speaker series as a whole has been a very successful. It's the most successful nonprofit organization, event that we have at the theater. By far, like, but
Nice.
they get some good outreach and some good outpouring. People coming on through, having good conversations. Seems like movers and shakers in the room. So man, she's really done something with One Omaha. Shout out to her and the whole crew, you and the whole crew.
Yeah.
Talked to Whitney Richardson last night. She was part of the WAC crew. We went out last night after did a little after thing after the event, and she said that she wants to come on through and talk some politics with us next season, especially since it'll be the season of the election season coming up.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Definitely gotta get you in front of some cameras and microphones there, Sister Whitney.
Yes, sir. I also
Make that
ran
happen.
into Bree Full last night as well. She was stepped out to the One Omaha event looking like Christmas.
Okay.
And yeah, man, and she also wants to come on through and have a little regular slot. So we might have a little Women's Wednesday back coming around next season, and talk to the sisters about what's going on. She'll still be on the school board, of course. Brianna Full on the school board, and she's the person we check in with on what's going on with that situation.
Yeah.
And has spoke out this year on some things, and stood up for the community. So
That's
we
right.
definitely want to give her some time as well. But that's Kimmer bringing all them powerful women together. So appreciate you very much for that.
Yeah, yeah, definitely kudos to your, seeing the fruits of your leadership under One Omaha. So yeah, yeah, definitely excited and happy to hear, that last night was a success at the theater, the squad coming together in many ways and excited to see what else comes out of One Omaha. So yeah, yeah, we all here for you, Cameron. However we can help, let us know. Let us know. And all everybody in the chat, let us know, are you missing Women's Wednesday? Are you excited about that coming back? Is that something that definitely should come back in season 7? Let us know. Let
Yeah.
us know.
Kimmer said school board is electing new leadership in 2 weeks. Pay attention. Okay.
Okay. Okay.
Happening. One
So
more thing. One more thing about One Omaha. I did hear rumblings of a podcast that got coming as well. So Kimber doing some big things. I'm trying to tell you.
mm, we here
Uh,
for it. We here
yeah,
for it.
absolutely. But anyway, just we kind of got away from the welcome, but thank you and welcome everybody that's coming on through. Really appreciate everybody that's getting up early this morning, giving us the good mornings, buddy. How you doing this morning?
Man, a little tired, boss. A little tired. Just trying to make sure everything. Mama God is on her way back to Omaha today. So finishing the visit with the littles, making sure we make everything is taken care of. She got everything packed and everything she needs to do to head out this morning to go out to the airport. So, just dealing with some things as far as that, trying to make sure everything is taken care of on the home front. A little tired, but I'm energetic, man. I don't know. It seems like no matter how tired I am, or no matter what happens the night before, or really the morning leading up to, this show, man, is always a constant. Is always energizing. So I'm definitely happy to be here. Definitely looking forward to ending this season off on a good foot and getting prepared for next season. That's based on our conversations yesterday. Got a lot of things to work on, but excited to work on it. Definitely excited to work on it. So that's kind of where I am, man. How about you, man? How's everything in your world?
Pretty good. Just really busy. This time of year for me. A lot of stuff going on with work and all kinds of stuff happening. Um, and so yeah, just still grinding.
Mhm.
Definitely tired. I'm glad I got to step out a little bit last night and hang for a little bit. But that's kind of rare for me these days because I'm just really grinding and just need to catch up on some rest for sure and take
Yeah.
a little trip. So looking forward to that. But yeah, it is funny how the place that this show has in my life is one that there's been a couple times when I was like up all night and just went and did the show, or slept an hour before the show, and it's always you get up and it's energizing. The play it's like I know that I'm gonna rest some other period point in time in the day, but it's always like get up and take care of this situation, and it feels like it's not an obligation. It feels like it's a like you said, an energizing force to get up and have a conversation, and then like the rest of the day, my mind is kind of at ease. At like, I don't know if anybody else is experiencing this, but sometimes if you get overloaded with news and information and stuff like that, you can feel like there's something burdening you and sitting on the back of on your shoulder the whole day.
Mhm.
But when we look and see what's going on around us and then discuss it, it kind of puts some of that at ease for me, for the rest of the day. So it's kind of a thing that I've placed this show in my life to that makes that happen for me. It makes it be a little bit less stressful during the day or information overload. I don't feel like I have to keep
Mhm.
on finding stuff and what's going on constantly because we've already discussed it. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah,
um,
I can see that.
yeah,
Kind of address it, get an understanding, kind of get a grasp, and then get just kind of get the tools you need to go attack the day in a sense.
yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, let us know if y'all feel the same in the chat. Pops kind of coming in and answering the question about Women's Wednesday, saying, I love women and I love Wednesdays. So, yes,
Women.
I have been delivered.
Pretty much says y'all definitely need a woman's voice said with love. Yeah,
Yeah.
we
Yeah.
never shy away from the woman's voice. That's for
Oh,
sure.
yeah. I mean, remember this. You see Michelle in the opening. It's just, life happens.
Yeah, can't wait till she gets back. As a matter of fact, Michelle has been doing a few things with brother Akatunde, Dr. Akatunde's channel that he's starting, and she just did a huge piece on Palestine. I heard to find that for us and put that
Man.
in the chat. Friends of First Guy Omaha. She's been speaking out on some things, and we also kind of last season we are talking about doing a separate kind of roundtable with a couple of sisters as well.
Hmm.
So we
Hmm.
got we still got that under the radar of plans for 2024. I'm gonna say 14,
Man.
2024
Not
coming up.
accepting the premise of the concept of time.
Man, come on, might as well be 2004 for me, or 2044. Christy Norris says, "Good morning, y'all. Good morning to you. Appreciate you very
Hey.
much." Got a good picture of some folks with Dr. Cornell West. I still need to put out there because, like I said, he hugged the whole room. So it's
Man.
this
Man.
photo op after photo op with him, which is pretty dope. Mara Sanchez says, after the show, for me, I feel armed with intellect to battle the ignorance.
Okay.
Feel that, man. Appreciate that very much, and that's definitely what I'm saying. Feels good. Feels good to be able to discuss what's going on around us with people that we have grown to trust
Hmm.
and care about. You know what I'm saying? And it's always the first step to have that conversation in order to get to that action point. And it's been good. It's
Yes,
been good.
sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Again, we're in a battle against hate, a battle against ignorance. So you got to be a love warrior, in the words of the Dr. Cornell West. You got to be a love warrior. So I love to hear that you feel armed with intellect. That's a good way to put it, Mayor Sanchez. Again, let's go out there. Tell a friend to tell a friend. Let's continue the conversation. Let's go out and be great. It starts here first, guy. So we appreciate y'all and thank y'all for choosing to start your day with us.
Yes, absolutely. Sue Kessler Hagen in the chat saying, "Good morning. Hard at work already this morning. I'm listening though. Appreciate you
Okay.
very
Well,
much."
thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, well, that's what's going on. This is the News Wednesday. We definitely got a lot of news, a lot of stuff happening. Some continuations of some stories that we've been on all week and the last couple of weeks actually has been in the news. So, shout out to everybody that's been putting stuff in Friends of First Guy Omaha. We pulled some of those things, and shout out to people who've been sending us direct communication about some stories and all that
Yeah.
too. So,
Yeah.
yeah, lots happening there, and really appreciate everybody's input. And we'll definitely get to it on this fresh edition of First Guy Omaha Radio, First Guy Omaha in the morning.
In the morning.
Paul B, Buddi3 Da Gawd, all of you chat
Hey,
chimers, ghost listeners, radio listeners, let's get it started.
let's start the show.
By the way,
What up, what up, what up? Good morning, good morning, good morning. Once again, you're listening to a fresh edition of First Sky Omaha Radio. First Sky Omaha in the morning.
In the morning.
Paul B,
Yeah.
Buddi3 Da Gawd, chat chimers, ghost listeners, radio listeners. Thanks for joining us on this Wednesday, November 13th, 2023. This is the second to the last show of the season 6,
Man,
Boots to the Roots.
man.
Yeah, for real. So and it is a news Wednesday. Definitely got some things to jump into today. I just once again want to shout out everybody who jumped in the chat for the good mornings this morning. Really appreciate that. Kimmer Snipe says the school board meeting this week was changed and it will be tonight. If anyone is interested in attending, I may show up myself. Okay, we'll see what's happening with the leadership there. Definitely got to get some insights on what's happening. Appreciate every time you go, Kimmer Snipes, and come back with your notes. You know, you kind of the man or the woman about town.
There you go.
You know, and letting us know what's happening in some of these meetings and things. So appreciate that very much. Somebody also sent me that just reminded me. Somebody sent me a message about a 360 meeting. I gotta look through these.
Yeah, we got that. We got that lined up.
Oh, okay,
Shout out
cool.
to Sister Tamika Renee and the North Omaha Community Partnership doing some work.
Yeah.
Doing some work. Yeah. So we'll be talking about that here a little later on. Some margin orders, a couple meetings to go to. Things will still be happening, while we're on our break. So I definitely appreciate that update. Looking forward to talking about, seeing who the new leader is of OPS when we get back. So, again, she says, Cameron says, school board electing new leadership in 2 weeks. So, yeah, when we get back, it'll be 2 weeks into their new position.
Okay. Yeah, we'll have to see what's happening. I can't wait to. I'm glad I ran into Beeee Full last night. It's gonna be good to kind of get firsthand information on that on a regular basis on what's going on there with the school. We definitely have people that are looking into what it is that we're talking about every time we start talking about the school board. I think a whole lot of opinions and things have been formed over some of these discussions that we've had about what's going on, and people have been able to voice their disappointment in what's been happening, and us just trying to keep up with it. So shout out to Beeee Full that always gives us the information and is hanging in there, hanging tough in the board representing.
Yeah, man. Also, Kimra coming through with some more information about events we've been talking about. She says, I went to the event at Two Dads in a bookstore with Chris Baby Boy Bowling.
Hey.
That was pretty dope as well. Big shout out. Hopefully, you got you some good reads, some good books.
Yeah.
Support.
Is that where I did see a flyer with Baby Boy on it that was something that was happening there that we actually missed. I went to go grab it today when I was looking at it earlier. Yeah. I was like, man, did we miss this event? We should have talked about it Monday and didn't get a chance to. So I wonder if that's the one. I didn't know it was over at the Two Dads bookstore.
Yeah.
Oh man, you know what I found out? So there's a place in Benson right here on the strip called Book Nook.
Yeah. You talked
Did I
about
talk
that.
about this already?
Yeah.
Because I found out that first of all he has several Book Nooks open. So anyway, it's a black owned bookstore. Didn't know that. And
It's a chain.
yeah, he's got a chain. There's no, I mean, it's not a chain. It's his several instances of Book Nook around town. He's got one in like in Exarban, a couple of different places. He's doing a mini Book Nook now at Benson Theater. But it just hit me the day that he came in and was talking about it. He was like, yeah, not many people know this is a black owned bookstore. We kind of just we just decided that we was going to be universal and just have stuff everywhere since we got several stores open. But he goes, got a lot of representation though. So I went to checked it out last night in Benson Theater. We got a lot of good black writers up on the wall in Benson Theater now. But that means that we on top of the African American bookstore we have Book Nook and we have the Two Dads bookstore. Actually, an anomaly to have three black bookstores
Man,
in an area like as small as Omaha, and is when we have literally maybe 20 or 25 in the whole country,
man,
according to
yeah.
talking to brother talking to brother Marshall Taylor years ago, letting us know.
Rest in peace.
Yeah, rest in peace, letting us know about how the shortage of black bookstores there are in the country. The fact that we got three here in Omaha is pretty big time. It keeps on
I
hitting me.
mean, think about just bookstores in general. I mean, the Borders, Barney's and Nobley, they all closed, man.
Barney's and Nobley. Got to go to actual coffee shop to get your coffee now. I don't know.
Yeah, man. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it's true, man. Yeah, the decline. Amazon took over with that
Yeah.
big way.
That was actually kind of the first. That was Amazon's first product, right? It was
Oh yeah,
books, and then they expanded to everybody
yeah, yeah.
else.
They took over. They took over the book market and got bookstores shut down, bro. Borders.
Man,
Yeah, big time. So that's
got Borders boarded up.
Kimber says one of the owners of the Two Dads and a bookstore is the son of a Jamal Benden. Okay,
Ah, makes sense. Makes sense.
that's what's up. I can't wait to get out there. I can't believe I haven't gotten out there yet. I have to go check it out.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Let us know if you got the address handy. We'll try to find that before the
Yeah,
end of let people know to go check it out. And shout out to brother A. Jamal Bendon. We're gonna have to get him on. Have to get
yeah,
him on.
and Two Dads too. Everybody.
Yeah,
You know.
yeah, yeah.
I got to see brother Marshall Taylor's wife Jeanette in a picture with Dr. Cornell West. So Dr. Cornell West came down and went to the African American bookstore
Yep.
while he was here.
Yep.
So that was great. I'm glad that they suggested that was BAA. That was brother Kasim. That was I think that said you make sure you get to the African American bookstore. So
Man, I mean, really, again, shout out to brother Sherman Wells, brother Kasim, those brothers, and really everybody who was a part of the tour, really showing Dr. Cornell West the community. Like they could have easily, had him hold up in the hotel, maybe take him to some spot downtown to eat or something. Like really showing him North Omaha, really, showing him the community, taking him to the places, North High, taking him to the bookstore, taking them to the Malcolm X Memorial Foundation, showing them the coal plant, like really giving them a sense of North Omaha, the community. So big shout out to the tour guides for doing it right.
that's right. Cornell West 2024.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. Remember that. Remember that.
For those of you that don't know about the African American bookstore, I just want to mention this. It's been a staple here for a long time.
Oh yeah.
It was ran by brother Marshall Taylor, rest in peace, who was best friends with Jesse Allen, my great uncle, and he was a powerful figure. When we started Mind and Soul, anybody who wanted to volunteer with us, one of the things he would do is take them over to the African American bookstore. That was kind of their initiation. Had to go over there and have a conversation with brother Marshall Taylor so he can let them know about what was expected about how they worked with us over at the theater, over at the radio station, and it became a thing, man. I want to continue that tradition. The more we build out First Sky Omaha as well, because Miss Jeanette Taylor's still over there holding it down.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Serious
She's still a
resource.
force.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely shout out to Miss Jeanette.
A lot of people that I talked to have sat in classes and heard instruction from Brother Taylor and other people in the back. I just talked to a guy who's working security at the Benson Theater that said that. He was like, I used to go to classes over there with Brother Marshall Taylor and sit in the back and learn. It's a serious resource. A lot of people, I think I heard Washaw was talking about this one time too, about how much he was influenced by learning about ourselves through the African American bookstore. It's kind of the conduit that the black community has had, the only one really to really gain some knowledge of self. And that was that resource is still there. I just want to always remind people of that. Just because after Brother Taylor died, there's a little less activity over there, but it's still there, still a resource. And Miss Jeanette Taylor is still holding it down in a big way.
Oh yeah, the spirit, is there now. I don't think that's ever going to go away as long as that building, and just the business is there. So yeah, actually, you kind of taking me down my memory lane as far as the classes I used to teach back there, and having Brother Marshall kind of just tiptoe in, not trying to disrupt the class. He just want to kind of get some of the teachings, hear the conversation, engage, and you can kind of get the sense like, come on, we need you to say something, brother Marshall. We need you to say something.
Mhm.
Kind of get that sense. But yeah, after going to FAMU, going to HBCU, getting some knowledge of self, and coming back and wanting to share that with my community. The first place I went was the bookstore. So yeah, definitely, man, definitely in this day and time, you know what I'm saying? When they're taking out our history, when they're taking out our presence in education and in books and in schools, we need the bookstore now more than ever, man. So big shout out to Miss Jeanette for really opening that back up, man. Like even having the wherewithal and the fortitude to push forward after losing a loved one like that. I'm sure it's not easy to be in there every day, but yeah,
Yeah.
big shout out.
I always think about my life a little bit like a movie. Like
Mm.
if you can imagine, I'm a character in this movie that is running into some problems, trying to figure out how to reach the black community. I got to go to the guru, so I go over to the bookstore, and Brother Marshall Taylor always allows me to come in back at the counter, sit in his office. What's on your mind? What's on your mind, brother? And I start talking to him
Oh
about
yeah.
it, and he comes with the advice, and that's real. It's not even, you know what I'm saying? Like it was real, and it feels that there's a definite hole there, not to be able to go talk to Brother Marshall that way. Just the whole era of I felt like that was a very important era of people that were around. Shout out to Sharif Lawaru as well. I kind of felt like he was on the council too. I felt like I had some councils. I'm also Walter Brooks, Brother Brooks. I felt like I had a council of older ones that I can go to and talk about what's really going on. They gave me a good like basis on what's happening in the black community and what's needed. A good solid foundation about that knowledge that I
Hmm.
still am working off of now. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm. True elders, man. True
Yep.
elders.
Yep. So shout out to the elders that are still around doing it. Shout out to the new leaders that are becoming the new elders.
Man,
Yeah.
actually, on that note, I do want to give a quick, man, honors and shout out to a elder that I met down here, and I've only been down here a few years, but this brother was definitely a true elder. He actually tuned in the first guy Omaha a couple times, and he recently transitioned. So just wanted to give love, light, and condolences and a big shout out and honors due to brother William Kimbrough Bay, called him Billy Day. But yeah, brother Kimbrough Bay, man, just recently passed, but he's tuned in to First Guy Omaha a couple of times. He's even commented, been a chat chimer, and then he recently transitioned down here. So yeah, just want to give a shout out to
That's
him.
what's up, man. That's how we do it. Go to a different place and find the elders, man. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, oh yeah,
Yeah, gotta find the mentors, find that base. I love that idea. I love it. So wouldn't know what to do without the elders, and that's would not be who I am without them. So
oh yeah,
I always think about this like the young cats. The cats that are my age, even a little bit younger. Start thinking in terms of like being that OG man, being that elder for kids. For younger folks. You don't just gain knowledge for yourself; you gain it to be able to pass it on later. So
oh yeah.
yeah, think in terms of that. So anyway, yeah, enough about that. We're kind of going down a rabbit hole here on it, but it's all good. It's all positive. That's what we're here to do is kind of build up the black community and talk about the things that are the building blocks that maybe people outside of a black community don't really know about. So yeah, I hope that you guys got some insights on that and got a vision and a picture, especially the ones that are listening that are not in Omaha, about the African American bookstore. It's an oasis
Man,
in the sea of red that we live in here in the Big West.
good word, good word.
Uh,
Yeah, and again, shout out to you, Kimmer, for checking out that bookstore.
yes, yeah, we gotta have the dads on for sure. Brother Mayor Sanchez says, "Well, what more can I say? I wouldn't be here today if the old school didn't pave the way." Heard that?
Yeah, man. I believe the term is Ubuntu. I wouldn't be who I am if it wasn't for us,
Yeah.
for who we
Speaking of
are.
which, anybody on Kwanzaa coming up?
Yeah, that's definitely a staple here in my household.
Okay, that's what's up.
Yeah, man, been seeing the Hanukkah candles out there. Yeah, 'tis the season, y'all.
Yeah, yeah. Let us know if there's anything going on. I haven't seen anything in the Haps quite yet about anybody who's doing any kind of celebrations like that over at Malcolm X Memorial Foundation. Usually where it goes down in other entities as well. So
Yeah, I think I do remember the Kwanzaa celebration at the Malcolm X.
yeah, let us know what's happening there. In the meantime, between time, it's already 7:30. If you believe in the concept of time, let's go ahead and jump into some of the let people know what we got coming up. It's definitely a full day of stories, news, things that are happening, continuations of news articles we've been talking about.
Yep.
I'm kind of excited to hear about some of these things that are going down here. So
A
just
lot of things are going, and we're kind of continuing a few seasons. Definitely following the money still. Big shout out to all the chat chimers who are sending us stories, keeping us on top of things. We appreciate you. That's why we call you our co-host, and we mean it. So yeah, we definitely thank you. Again, big shout out to Sister Tamika who sent us a message about some things that is going on at the 360 meetings, the Empowerment Network 360 meeting. I believe that meeting is going on today at 2 p.m. And there is a call to action to stand up against the recent statements from Tony Connor, who's the president of Omaha Police Officers Association, who used a former or a current victim, a young man who lost his life in the community for his own political gain and own political statement. So we'll definitely be diving into exactly what Sister Tamika has planned. In other news, also speaking of plans, Omaha City Council has been busy recently um, clearing the path for the Southside Terrace to be closed down. Again, shout out to Chat Chambers keeping us up to date on what's going on with that. Sister Kimra, if you have any updates on what's going on with that situation, I would definitely love to hear from you. If you have any news or again any notes about what's going on with the Southside Terraces, Omaha City Council again has confirmed the tearing down of it. Also, they approved $800,000 for a new bomb truck and other police equipment. Again, more war games, more war materials for our Omaha Police Department. Not sure how much use they'll get out of the bomb truck. And it's not the bomb pop truck. We're not talking about ice cream. We talk about an actual bomb truck that the Omaha Police just recently got the funds for. So
800,000.
yeah, man. Yeah. So again, we'll definitely be talking about that. Also, following the money, Omaha City Council is considering forming a new board to control recovery plan funds. Again, this is coming out of the news from the senators who told us and has now made us aware of this inland port. This is something that's new to us, but we'll definitely be learning more about it as Omaha City Council again is considering this new move. Hopefully, this goes forward. This sounds like a pivot that is much needed. As again, if you've been paying attention, what's going on with the LB 1024 funds and the DED. A lot of questions and not a lot of answers. So again, it seems like the senators feel like they needed to pivot and now are turning to the city for a different route. So again, we'll definitely be diving into that situation. And then also, this is a story we've been trying to talk about for several weeks. There's been so much going on, but we need to make time to talk about it before we get out of here. Talking about Governor Pillen's emotional plea for more foster and adoptive parents. Definitely something very, very interesting to talk about, especially when we look at exactly what types of children, what is the demographic of children in our child welfare system, how in shambles that system is, and what exactly will this mean? What impact will it have for more foster carers and more parents trying to adopt in these situations? So I definitely love to hear your thoughts. And as always, if there's anything that we're not talking about on your hearts and minds, please definitely let us know about it.
Yep, absolutely. Kimmer in the chat says no updates for me. No one will really talk to me about it. Unfortunately, I needed people to step up when I was trying to organize around this a couple of years ago. I'm sorry to hear that.
Mm.
Miss Erica Felt is in the chat. Good morning. She says, hopefully they don't leave Southside wide open like they have with the old projects in North Omaha. Sherman Wells film no doors and you can walk on into any unit.
Yep.
Yeah, that was just
Talking about that as
pretty
well.
bleak photo they had in the paper on that one.
Yeah.
Looked like
I mean, you go down there, it's a pretty bleak feeling, man. It's
I guess I hadn't been down there in a while because that just I was very surprised when I saw the shot. Miss Kimber says similar to LB 531 money. I need folks to step up. Last summer when I was trying to organize around this, now it's kind of too late. And yes, I have
yep.
an attitude about it. Heard that. Also, Miss Eric, Miss Erica Fell says, and good morning, everyone. I'm sick, so manners are minimal. You ain't
I'll get
under
well
the weather,
soon.
huh? Yeah, I'm like nursing this sore throat big time. Other family members in town have been down under the weather. Just dropped off a COVID test to another family member. So
Man,
yeah, it's kind of something going around here for real. I'm definitely kind of fighting this sore throat pretty much every day myself. So hope you feel
I
better.
told you. Told y'all this morning at the top of the show. Fingers in the eyes and the mouth. Miss Erica Phelps, you know what I'm talking about. That's probably how she got sick. Baby's fingers all in the mouth.
little dirty children, son.
Yeah, yeah. Kids be dirty.
Kids be kids be dirty. Kimber Snipes says they're not going to leave it wide open. They're going to displace numbers of people. Talk about the displacement when it comes to those movements there. Mr. Rockefeller says when they closed some of the villas in Oakland, they were left standing for years, but were boarded up and fenced off. Yep. Tough Anderson in the chat. Good morning. Says the Inland Board Authority has already been chosen, just can't announce who have been designated to be on the board. So you talking about the Inland Port Authority? You talking about? It's already been chosen. That's interesting information. I can't wait to see who that is because it is going to be mayor appointed. So we'll see. Miss Erica Phelps says, I keep telling parents, teach children to quit putting germs in their body. I'm all day washing hands and toys and books. Oof, can't imagine. It's a tough one.
Yep.
Gotta have a tough immune system to wash kids.
Get well soon.
Yeah, please do.
Oh, yeah.
Let's go ahead and jump into some of these stories, man. What you got on your mind first?
Well, let's go ahead and dive into can you hear me? Can you hear me? Can you see me?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, some information coming out about this Inland Port Authority. So let's go ahead and talk about that a little bit. Again, this is coming from the senator's mouth on Monday, and they actually been talking about it for the last couple weeks about the possibility of an inland port and what that means, and just the pivot away from the DED. Again, there's been a lot of questions about what's going on with the DED, specifically what's going on with LB 531. We've been very transparent about how we've gone through the process, and
still going through the process.
Yeah, still going through it, and quite honestly, still a lot of questions about what's happening with that situation, even as we're going through it. And this coming out of WOWT, though, again, Tuesday's board meeting went down, and a part of that board meeting was this conversation on an inland port. The North Omaha Recovery Plan involves hundreds of millions of dollars, and right now the Nebraska Department of Economic Development controls the purse strings. So let's just be honest, again, and that's falling under Governor Pillen and his administration. The ordinance put forward before the Omaha City Council Tuesday would create what's called an Inland Port Authority, essentially a new governing body with the sole purpose of managing the new projects in North Omaha. The projects mostly concern developments planned near Epley Airfield, which fits one of the definitions to qualify for this inland port. About $90 million for an airport business park, another $30 million for innovation hub, also another $20 million for a truck route, and another $35 million for a multi-purpose facility. Again, by creating an Inland Port Authority, the 9 members appointed to the board by the mayor would steer the project near the Nebraska DED. Or excuse me, not the Nebraska DED. DED has a tough job. That's according to Senator Justin Wayne, who's quoted in this article saying, I'm not going to throw them completely under the bus. They have to look at the entire state, and they're looking at the entire state, and they're really busy doing so. At the same time, we feel it's time to focus on Omaha and this area to make sure it gets developed. The money has been sitting around for roughly 2 years, so it's time to make sure it's getting moving. Senator McKinney is commented in this article saying, it's my hope that we can move forward with Inland Port and get that the resources in centralized place so we have a coordinated process so it all makes sense. At the end of the day, we don't look back in 3 or 5 years from now and nothing has happened or it's all lost. Again, hundreds of millions of dollars coming into the community. We've already talked about some of the offers that have already gone out. The numbers that we're hearing, like 50,000, not much to really develop things, to really get the ball moving. And again, these are funds that have been designated for certain areas. Again, they're qualified census tracts, and these census tracts are qualified based on the level of poverty, based on the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic. And we all know that North Omaha was disproportionately impacted. That's what we were told. That's what, again, all the numbers pointed to the disproportionate impact on North Omaha. So again, it's very interesting. The feeling that a lot of people saying, well, they're setting you up to fail. They're setting you up to fail. And again, this money is for North and South Omaha. That's what it's supposed to be for.
Yeah. We're getting definitely feeling some kind of way. Like I said, we've been pretty open about the process that we've been trying to go through in order to receive some of these funds. The last hoop that we have to jump through was due on the 31st. Is due on the 30th or 31st, and so even before that though, we already got another letter coming in saying that we had to do something, that we have to make sure that we are talking about the area that we're working out of by today. So but sprung it on us yesterday evening, and it's something another hoop to have to jump through. It's making me go, I don't even, man, this has been so much mess. Like, I don't even, like, I feel like they are definitely setting us up to fail, and don't feel like I even want to keep on going through the process. And then Buddy keeps reminding me, like, this is money for us. This is money.
This is our money. This is for the community.
For the community. And if we just give up, which is almost like what it feels like they're trying to get you to do sometimes, then it goes to somebody else, and then you got a $700 million lake out west somewhere. So it's really, really tough to understand that. Jump in the chat real quick. Kimmer says, how will this inland port stop people from bickering over funding? Also, or encourage folks to apply together? These are good questions. I wanted to play the clip that WOWT put out there, or had on, because this was, let's see if we got the right. I got a couple clips here to make sure I got the right one. Yeah, this is the one. Check this clip out real quick. You see Senators Terrell McKinney and Senator Justin Wayne talking on this subject. Let's see if I can get it wrong.
Has an odd ring to it. Inland Port Authority.
Today, the city of Omaha began the process of gaining more local control over tens of millions of dollars earmarked to transform North Omaha. Ryan Mastery joins us now in the newsroom with the recent
Freudian slip. Y'all heard that.
John Aaron, right now the state controls the money, specifically the Nebraska Department of Economic Development.
Say that again.
I said y'all heard that Freudian slip. He said transfer, trying to say transform.
Mm-hmm. Or transform North Omaha. Transform North Omaha. Ryan Mastery joins us now in the newsroom with the reasons why.
John Aaron, right now the state controls the money, specifically the Nebraska Department of Economic Development. Mayor Stothart's team today introduced an ordinance at City Council, a path that would ultimately lead to local control of those dollars, and two state senators in Omaha tell me they welcome this move.
The inland port puts a focus. We have a dedicated body that's going to be focused on North Omaha, around the airport, and making sure it's developed and coordinated. We have a lot of different projects going on, but we got to make sure it's coordinated.
Here's the area in question. It's close to an airport, major river, interstate, and railroad. Those are all requirements to be considered for this new governing body with local control. Now, in the 300 acres around Eppley, recovery money is already earmarked for a $90 million airport business park, $30 million innovation hub, a truck route, a $35 million multi-purpose facility. And Senator Wayne and McKinney fear that if these once-in-a-lifetime dollars aren't handled with local community control, with transparency and accountability, they won't be able to leverage those dollars into unmistakable change in North Omaha.
Why is this so important in your view?
I think it's important because, we've been talking about this economic recovery in North Omaha for the past 3 years, and it's a lot of money on the table. And my whole point and hope from the start is just to ensure that the resources that were allocated are utilized in the best way and create the change that we envisioned when we started.
There will be a public hearing next Tuesday over the Inland Port Authority designation before the Omaha City Council. If approved in early January by the council, the paperwork's then sent to the state. Local governing board would comprise of 9 people appointed by the mayor and confirmed by the city council. I left a message with the governor's office this afternoon for reaction, but haven't heard back.
Interesting.
Yeah.
A lot to unpack there, really. I don't even know where to begin. It's just it's incredible.
Well, let's jump into the chat real quick. T ran in the chat saying, "I'm just saying, remember these quotes. numerous quotes over the years show involvement in the process, and then come back and claim not involved in the process. Also saying it was a trap when switching it from 1024 to 531. It was already under more local control under 1024. Okay.
Is that true?
I
Is
don't
that
know.
right though? Because it was under federal control at 10 when it was 1024. Put it into state control because the federal had a time limit on it, and we weren't gonna. Nobody in the community was gonna be able to make that time limit, which is the reason why they chose to move it to state control. But they've admitted that moving it to that was kind of a bad move, seeing how the DED is moving now. So we gotta they at the time had the best idea. I feel like in order to make sure that that money did come, and it wasn't going to have a time limit on it to do that. They thought they'd be able to work with the state, but remember they made that move, and then what was it? Who was it? Tony Goins, who was head of that.
Yeah, yeah, that was gonna be my statement. Remember, there was a change of leadership for the DED. So
Right after
when
that.
I'm sure when they drafted 531, they kind of anticipated being a different DED as far as different leadership in the DED, and all that changed around the same time. So I do find that very interesting. But again, I would like to, if you have more information about the differences between 1024 and 531, I would definitely love to, hear more about it. Also, that woman, I'm kind of curious what your biases are. She says, coming from cities with historic port authorities and knowing their issues, I need to dig deeper and understand this here better while pushing my biases aside. Now, I'm kind of curious, what are those biases? What experiences do you have with port authorities? Because again, this is kind of new to me. This is kind of a new term, a new concept, in our whole civic lesson. So I'm
I'm not
curious.
quite sure that it's the same kind of port authority that you're thinking of. I'm not really quite sure about that. Again, I'm not 100% on. This is all new to me too. Earlier in
Mhm.
the chat, she said we're not even an international airport. They'll shake my head. Port authority is another form of police. And I do kind of
Mm.
know that is the case when it comes to actual ports. When it comes, sea bearing ports in places like Long Beach. I remember getting harassed by a port authority in Long Beach before. You know what I'm saying? Like, don't
Mm.
know if they're calling it an inland port authority or inland port, and I'm not sure if it's the same setup is what they're if is a actual port authority is concerned. So this was kind of one of my questions I had. I forgot to ask them when they were on about that. Because when I'm saying what is the port, what does it look like? What does the inland port authority look like? Will there be warehouses? Will the is it going to be shipping? What does it actually look? What's the area supposed to be that is designated for this as a port authority? And they were really adamant on being able to bring larger companies in town in order to provide jobs and stuff like that. But as far as shipping in and out and the all the stuff behind that, the infrastructure behind that, I'm not sure if it's the same thing. I'm not sure if there's going to be like police, port authority police in this area and stuff like that. Just not sure about that. So definitely need some more information on that as well. Also in the chat, T. Ren says ARPA was going to the cities to be distributed to nonprofits from there. Argued it should be transferred to the state. Now argue opposite. Come on. Well, like I said, I mean, it makes sense to me. We were definitely going to be running out of time getting the federal funds. That had a time limit on it. We even saw that in some of the federal funds we were trying to get at the theater. That there's a time limit on some of the ARPA funds that were happening. They were getting ready to not be able to be accessed, and you had to have them at a certain time. We needed more time in the community, so transfer from the state. Plus, they had relationships with people in the state as well. Remember, they were in the governor's office talking to him pretty frequently around that time
Mhm.
about what's going on here. So at the move, yeah, the move was good at the time, but then, like I said, later on, as we can see, the DED changed up a whole bunch of stuff, and there's a whole lot of things that nobody knew. These meetings were being held, and they had there was a lot of questions, but they weren't even really answering questions.
Oh
And to
yeah,
this day, we don't really know how things are moving. So it's turning out to be same goal. The same goal is get this money. Let's the money that's earmarked for North Omaha. Let it get to North Omaha. Still the same goal here for the senators. even though they've already done their job, they're still trying to make sure that it ends up being what it's supposed to be in the end.
Yeah, and also, T Ran, to your point about ARPA going to the cities, I'm I'm not sure that that's the same allotment because remember, money there's ARPA money that was going everywhere. Each level of government received their own allotment of ARPA funds. The county received their money. That's what they used 10 million of that to build the kid jail that still hasn't opened. Y'all remember that? Again, they were supposed to use it for rental assistance, and somehow 10 million got moved to this prison. That's a whole nother conversation. The city of Omaha supposedly received their own millions in ARPA funds. Not sure where that went. And then the state received its own funds of ARPA. So I think 1024 is from the state allotment of, I think like a billion or so went to the state. And of that billion, hundreds of millions were pushed aside to create this LB 1024
The
situation.
senators.
Right, by the senators. Again, the senators being state level officials, that's really the only move that they could do, is direct state dollars. So I'm kind of curious. I'm still trying to figure all of this out in real time, which it seems like, DD is doing as well, is trying to build the plane as they fly, which I understand why. The senators are. It's very clear when they came on why they felt the need to make a pivot as far as whether or not this is the right move or how this will work. Yeah, I think we're still figuring that out.
Yeah.
But at any rate, if you heard in the clip, next Tuesday, you all have the opportunity to go to city council, kind of, maybe have a week or so to do your own research to kind of form your own opinion and let that opinion be known at a next week's city council meeting. So right now, it doesn't seem to be a foregone conclusion. Again, it might come to bear. It does seem like it's on that track, but if enough people show up, enough opposition, maybe we can kick the can down the road or support it. I don't know.
There you go. Brother Knight in the chat is talking about that port, saying which would make it easier for manufacturing businesses out west to move closer to the airport, railway, and potential barges to move products. So thinking about what will go there. Yeah, we kind of had this idea that it was supposed to attract a lot of out of town manufacturers and companies that would provide jobs. But yeah, you're right. I think maybe it may be another step in that gentrification of the north side when big companies from out west come out and then you got people who are living out west driving into work out north. So there's some things to definitely keep an eye on here, and I'm glad that everybody is thinking ahead and is aware of those things, and seeing where it is that there might be some trip up or people that are not really doing what they said or whatever too, like just the transparency, and also to keep the questions going. The senators both say hit them with any questions anytime, as we work out what it is that we are seeing is happening here. And sifting through the mud just to see what's going on, we can definitely come up with great questions and present them to the senators, and they can answer them the best they can with the information they have. Because as you can see, they're kind of in a fight too of people not really giving them all the information. So unfortunately, the DED relationship with the senators kind of broke down in a way that they weren't really able to get any more info for us. And that's unfortunate. I always remember that too, that, looking at it from their perspective, they're in this fight and they're trying to get this info, and they're trying to have the same goal of directing those dollars that they try to allocate for North Omaha to make sure they get to North Omaha, because as you can see, there's a bunch of hiccups in between, and they're trying to, play chess to try to make it still happen. So there's some of it's out of their hands, some of it's out of our hands. Some of it is us keeping on, being aware of what's going on and pushing for it. Really tough though. Really tough to understand how they're moving. We all have an overall viewpoint of why they're moving like they're moving, how they're moving. Brother Senator McKinney came on one time. He was like, "I'm surprised about the level of greed. I didn't know." I thought I'm trying to make deals with them and thinking that they're going to be happy with a certain amount. No, they wanted all the money. So it's been a battle. You told us from the jump it's been a battle to get the money that's allocated for North Omaha to North Omaha. Still is.
Yeah, and again, I have to agree with any move that goes, is trying to go towards more local control and communal self autonomy. I mean, that's really what we're fighting for is for us to be able to say what it is that we need and get supported in that from the people that we're paying taxes to. Again, I'm out here for it, and it seems like some people like Miss Erica Felt. Thank you for answering my question. It seems like you have some experience and some perspective, more information about an inland port or just a port authority in general. And maybe more so than questions, this could be opportunity to kind of lay down some things like, hey, this is some kind of a cautionary tale to the senators, if you will, like, hey, make sure that this isn't included in the authority or this isn't included. Miss Erica Feather in the chat says, I agree. Portland and especially Oakland's Port Authority have different issues with managing import and exports, but a port is not at root just that import export, and that requires policing. She says, my biases are from negative experiences with the Port Authority gave to business owners, friends that had to transport through their jurisdiction. Big companies and white businesses were given passes, but not black or small. That's very interesting. She says that clip proves the board is a done deal. Oh, that's Tough Henderson, excuse me. But Tough Henderson does says the clip proves that the board is a done deal. When has anything that the mayor put forth been denied by city council?
Yeah, I'm not really sure of that history, but yeah, I definitely get the point. I mean, I felt like that too. As soon as they said the mayor had to appoint this
Like,
board, I'm like, and the city council got to approve it. Okay. Also, Wanda Lewis in the chat is saying about the inland. She says inland means that it will have no involvement with the port authority. So that's what I'm saying. I feel like they're just calling it that. They're talking about. I'm still not clear on the designation why it's being called a port authority and if it's going to have any of the elements of port authority involved. Wanda Lewis says it will have no involvement with the port authority because it's an inland one. But here we are listening to Miss Erica Felt about some of the dangers about it being a port authority. If that's what it is, if those elements of being a port authority is applied to this, then that's something else to look out for. Kimber Snipes says it isn't the same allotment. There was a separate funding for the city and separate funding for the county as well. Yeah, Buddy was saying that a second ago. And it's definitely money that was pulled aside, not the same, but it's come to. As a matter of fact, from what I remember, that the money that was supposed to be allocated for North and South Omaha was money that it was kind of on top of some of these other ARPA funds that were already coming to the city and to the state and the county, like you were saying, and it was extra. They were some of these lawmakers were looking at it as extra funds coming in. Like if it doesn't work out with North Omaha, they got their hands on some extra funds on top of the ones that they already were getting in different ARPA accounts. And remember, I've been to some of these meetings that the DED's been holding. And the DED in particular has several programs out there that they have every year, and these new funds that were coming in was a whole different thing for them. It was a whole new thing. Yep. They didn't have offices open in North and South Omaha. They had to open new offices in order to deal with this money. They had to hire new staff. They had to up the pay of some of the staff that was there. These are all things that we've been reporting on about the changes over at DED in order to even deal with that money, because that's not something that they would normally do. So this was definitely something that the senators put together that was above and beyond everything else that was coming in, and it was designated for North and South Omaha. And so now the trick is now getting it to us.
Man, chat's going off.
Okay, good. What's going here? We see Brother Terrell McKinney in there. He said we was just trying to make sure our community isn't messed over. Exactly. Excuse me. That's my point. Like that's still the goal. It's still the goal. They did their job in working deals and making sure that money comes in and is allocated to the North and South Omaha. But then there's so many hoops and so many other entities that have to, it's out of their control after they receive the money. The way that the political system is set up for the checks and balances, there's another department that now has to deal with it, and they're still trying to, above and beyond their jobs, make sure that money's still directed where it's supposed to go.
Yeah, and also Senator McKinney further up in the chat giving us more clarity about whether or not there will be police. He says they won't have police. And the governor's office controlled federal and state dollars always, There was no conceding of control. Our involvement has always been limited. It's obvious, not a conspiracy.
Yep. Wanda Lewis in the chat says Olson received 17 million to make suggestions on requests for funding to avoid bias. What a bust. Ooh, man. I kind of, it's a tough thing to feel that way too, like to think about that because, I'm quite sure that was one of the things that had to happen in order for them to be able to, get other senators to agree to things and so on. But yeah, that's the Olson thing was put in place there so that we can avoid some of the stuff that's going on now. And again, it's tough because there's the theory there makes sense to me, but at the same time, man, the execution sometimes by these different entities we don't have no control over messes you up. It really kind of
I
puts
mean,
things in perspective that way for me.
going through this process now and now being on our like third or fourth application, it definitely feels now that the Olsen situation was just a formality, $17 million formality. That from what it sounds like from the senators, they kind of had no real choice in. They were kind of in between a rock and a hard place as far as having a third party or an outside source handle that first application process.
Mm.
So yeah, it is very, very interesting, the whole Olsen report. But again, several allotments of ARPA funds were only focusing on, billions and billions of dollars came into the state at all levels of government, and we're focusing on a few hundred million that came from the state, came from the state. I'm going back to Sister Kimra. She's saying county commissioners also got $2 million apiece to do what they wanted within their districts. What happened with that money? Like, there's a lot more questions that could be asked than just what's going on with LB 1024 and 531.
So true.
But again, we'll definitely keep our eyes on this Inland Port Authority, what that means, what the board will be made up of. Maybe T-Ren is right. Maybe they already have decided who that is. And, we'll see. As they say, hindsight is always clear, always 2020.
Well, one thing I can see, Brother McKinney is saying there is no one appointed or slated to be appointed yet. So earlier we were kind of making this assumption that it's probably already chosen. What's the mayor going to do? But Brother Terrell McKinney, Senator McKinney says that's not happening yet. Also, I'm getting this little piece of information that just came in here now. Introduction to the Municipal Inland Port Authority Act. Nebraska is ideally situated as an industrial and logistical hub for multiple industries across the United States. The Municipal Inland Port Authority Act is intended to stimulate the Nebraska economy by incentivizing and development of new industry hubs and providing the economic development tools necessary to acquire and develop large shovel-ready sites. The creation of one or more inland port authorities in Nebraska will serve as a mechanism to develop both commercial and industrial sites. In addition to the development of commercial and industrial sites, Nebraska's inland port authorities will serve as regional merging points for multimodal transportation and the distribution of goods. So a little clarification there, the purpose behind this Inland Port Authority Act that's going on there. So yeah, just hopefully that'll provide a little bit more clarity on some of these things that are happening. Kimber Snipe says I'm gonna have to just look at it, look it up myself.
Man,
I feel a wave of calm and ease come over me when I hear Kimber say she's going to dig. I know we're gonna get to the bottom of it now. Appreciate you, Miss Snipes, for that as well. Also. I'm really glad that everybody's kind of talking about this in the chat here. Stuart Knight in the chat a little earlier says the key words is inland port. Ports are intended to move goods, right? There would be no people within the area for police to worry about. Their concern would be for port security. Okay.
Make sure goods aren't being stolen, things like that.
Right.
That makes sense.
Right. Tough Anderson is saying, sorry, Senator McKinney, you are wrong. Perhaps you just have not been made aware of the board designations.
I mean, if you drop some names, let us know.
Yeah, drop the evidence. Vaughn Chapman in the chat, good morning, says the original intent for the 1024 531 funding was to fund black businesses. The mayor has all but ignored the needs of Black Omaha. Her priorities have not created any black autonomy.
That is a concern. I mean, I think we've all kind of perked up when we hear that the mayor is going to be appointing this board, and we've kind of seen how certain mayor appointed boards have been treated in the past. I think Joaquin Fox got the boot after he made some moves that kind of peeved the mayor a little bit. If you remember him being kicked off some boards and
Okay.
some yeah
I
yeah
do kind of remember that. Yeah.
yeah
Man,
yeah
can you imagine being in this position where you got to deal with either a governor appointed entity or a mayor appointed entity? Like you got to go back and forth in order to get something done.
and neither one of them really
That's what I'm saying, man.
show that
The
they care.
senator's job is tough. Like I don't know if I'll be able to hang. They were talking to the governor earlier, to really trying to like say, hey, let's. And the governor was like, yeah, let's make this happen. And of course the governor has to sign off on money going to North and South Omaha in the end. And so the governor then appoints the new head of the DED after Tony Goins leaves,
Yeah, or it was booted.
or right. So the governor's appointing people there, and now they're saying, well, we got to, it's not looking. The DED is not really cooperating all the way. We got to figure out another way to make sure this money gets to North Omaha. So now they got to deal with the mayors, the mayors appointed people, and hopefully present something to the mayor that the mayor will agree on the right folks and the right moves here to make in order to be able to make sure to be on the same page as them, which is to get the money to North and South Omaha. So like
Mhm.
I can't imagine being in a situation where you got to go back and forth depending on two entities appointed by two entities that doesn't historically have seem like it has a black Omaha in its best interest. Sounds tough. Kimber Sipes, yes, drop names. We need that information. Jay Carter in the chat, good morning, says this will be another organization that will be used as an excuse to divert even more money away from real problems that impact ethnic citizens of Omaha, particularly the African American interests. I think we're all kind of low key feeling that. That's what I mean by like you jumping back and forth between these entities. We all perk up when you hear the mayor's appointed so and so or the governor's appointed so and so. These are the only, that's all. You can't do anything about it. That's the way the politics is set up. So you have to try to work within that system.
Man.
And man, is the system is the lake poisoned?
Yeah,
The lake is poisoned.
man. Stacey Jean, I'm immediately suspicious of any board appointed by the mayor. Yeah, I mean,
That's real.
it's the way the cookie is crumbling. It seems like.
Yep. 6:07 right now. If you believe in the concept of time, really appreciate everybody that's joined in on this discussion. If you miss any parts of this show or any of the chat, go back and check it out in its entirety on Facebook and YouTube, and check out the chat on both spaces. Lots of good conversation back and forth, and discussion happening right here, and suggestions and information. So appreciate that. Shout out to Senator Terrell McKinney for taking the time this morning to come in and clarify a few things as well. And we'll definitely continue on. We talked to the senators already. We're going to definitely continue on talking to them in season 7 because it's been invaluable, the information that we've been able to have and the things we've been able to learn about our local politics just by having the senators on in particular. So really, really appreciate you guys in a big way, and we'll continue to have these conversations with you. In the meantime, between time, you see anything in the chat you want to jump on, or you want to move on to the next article for the moment?
Just real quick, want to acknowledge Wanda Lewis talking about the streetcar in this whole situation, saying the streetcar will also be an entity of the Port Authority when talking transportation. Very interesting. Also, Jay Carter saying it is interesting all this funding diversion is occurring after there was a change in leadership that removed blacks from any key positions in state and city governments. Very, very interesting. We've been talking about again the high level of turnover of African American leadership in many areas. Whether it be Miss Jeffries leaving the chamber, or the superintendent situation, DED. Yeah, the list goes on.
Particularly
So.
this money diversion in the DED definitely feels very suspicious after Tony Goins leaves. And then there's the governor appoints a new head of the DED that
Right.
we recognize was from his network of people. We've met in certain individuals in the DED, like Trey, that we've asked to come on. He hasn't been able to get back to us on coming on. We've had interactions with a couple people that were looking at our case, and there's been turmoil and trouble there. So it's kind of, and then us, we're going to be like, well, what's going on, senators? And they're like, well, they're not telling us nothing either.
Right, right. It's definitely a rock and a hard place. It's definitely a rock and a hard place because again, there's been no real investment from the state in our communities, and now we're talking about funds being diverted to the city. But we all seen and know what they do with the funds. I mean, just now being reported from WOWT at Tuesday's city council meeting also was approved a few big ticket items for Omaha police, including a $800,000 for a bomb truck and more equipment. One of them is a massive piece of equipment, again, which many in the area have likely seen. So you might have seen this rolling around already. We're called at approximately 80 times a year, some very important, dangerous calls, according to OPD Deputy Chief Steve Cerveny, who was talking about the bomb response truck. It's used more often than you think, he says. He says we provide bomb responses for not only the Omaha community, but three counties, Douglas, Sarpy, and Washington, along with all the smaller agencies that are contained within those counties. Tuesday, the city council members swiftly approved just shy of $600,000 for the department to buy the new bomb truck. Also, another $200,000 for other equipment. The truck has the capability to properly contain and dispose of explosive devices and houses other equipment that's used during bomb response calls. Just this summer, apparently, the bomb squad was called to a suspicious package at the College World Series. Cerveny also says the price for a piece of equipment like this has only been going up, so there's no better time than now. It's costly, but well worth for the safety and the lives of everyone in this community. City Council also authorized the department to spend more than $200,000 on equipment for the forensics unit. The equipment uses a laser to scan a violent crime scene and then create a 3D virtual image of the scene that can be used for further investigation anytime after the physical scene has been cleared. So, again, more equipment for the police.
I find that funny they say the bomb. This truck is used for more times than you think, because that was my first thought. It was like, how many bomb threats do we have? Have we been coming across? In Omaha, they already know. They already know we're gonna be feeling like, really, a bomb truck? That's what we need to spend $800,000 on? Police always gonna get their toys, man.
Yep. Yeah. Well, all the while the community, the people. You see what we got to go through. Speaking of that, brother Kasim in the chat dropping some gems on us. Definitely appreciate you joining us. He says ARPA will end up in the same hands all other funding have ended up through time. Same gatekeepers, money coming into the city, not being allocated properly, etc. Pan-Africanism, relying on one another to duplicate separate systems is our only hope. Let me read that again. He says Pan-Africanism, relying on one another to duplicate separate systems, is our only hope. I do agree with Buddy. It is our money. However, aren't we tired of falling short as a people when things don't pan out in our favor regarding our trust in these devils? I nor the BAA have never received $1 from any of these crooks in 4 years. As an entity, we've moved mountains. Yes, it's hard as hell, but we either begin to exercise the process of self or be doomed.
Yeah,
there you go.
Definitely understand this perspective. Definitely hear you on that. Definitely feel like we need each other. There's us, and like Buddy says before, that's all we need. So definitely feel that way, and feeling this way too about this the money that's coming in. Is designated to us. We all pay taxes in this country as well, and ultimately when we are going after these funds, it's because we are owed these funds for more reasons than just paying taxes. But yes, the sentiment is there for me too, man. That's the first place I go. I'm like, Man, I don't even want this money. I'm sick of jumping through these hoops for these people, man. I'm out. You know what I'm saying? Like, how many times,
Mhm.
buddy, have you heard me say that? I'm so mad about it. I'm ready to just, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's starting
Yeah.
to eat into the time frame that I could be hustling. I could be getting my hustle on and getting other stuff going on in our community, and it's you know it's kind of eating into that time. But you know the one thing that I do feel good about is that there are people in our community that's their job to take the time to fight against that. You know, the Terrell McKinney's, you know, Senator McKinney, who's putting you know, he's got a committee going that's going to be trying to keep track of this stuff. You know, he's out here working that and doing that, and I just want to support him doing that while I try to move on to some other things. Because the fact of the matter is, we need all of it. We need all of it. We need we need first and foremost our self reliance, and then we need secondly we need folks to give us the money that's owed us. We need it all. So, and yes, and if we don't get it, and if it turns into a situation where they're setting us up to fail or they're giving us scraps, ain't gonna stop. And the ain't gonna one monkey ain't gonna stop this show. We still rolling. We still rolling. So you know, again, like you know, we put a lot of we talk about this a lot. We got a lot of energy into this, and it's mostly because we're trying to support the brothers that are trying to go out here and do this and get it, and also because we're owed it. We understand. We have some understanding about that now. And that's and you know even though they do I feel like they do this on purpose. They put you through so much stuff on purpose. You just be willing to you just be like forget it, never mind. But you're like Buddy reminds me. No, man. How much I owe the IRS $4,000 right now. Like, you know how much taxes we pay? You know what I'm
Man,
saying?
that part, like that's the part. Like, how many times it's just interesting how much this country was built on our backs, and yet it continues to happen. We'll talk about what's going on with the Southside Terrace and the use of TIF in that project, but that's why we're so upset about TIF all the time. You know, and again, I say LB 1024, these funds are our funds because again, it's designated for qualified census tracts. Who lives in these qualified census tracts? Why are these census tracts qualified? How many times is a dollar going to be made off of our poverty, off of our oppression, and we don't get any of it? We got to go through all these hoops to you know, when are we going to get some boots to be able to pull up the straps?
Bro, the fact of the matter is the area is so disinvested in the first place. It's almost like they do it on purpose in order for in
Yeah.
order for the area to be in poverty, in order to ask for some money to quote unquote fix the poverty in our areas, and then the money doesn't even come back to us. So, you know, I feel Brother Kasim, man. I feel switching gears on the push, on the attention. Put
Oh
this
yeah.
much, you know, you put this much energy into doing it for ourselves and teaming up with people. I'm still very very high off the past couple weeks of being able to see so many events happen with so many of our people in the room that's on the same page with this, man. We can do a lot of business with each other, and we just gonna do that. You know what I'm saying? Like Wanda Lewis says, when things don't pan out versus pan Africanism.
Yeah, I like that. I like that. I like
T-shirt drop. T-shirt drop.
that. Yeah, I like that. I like that.
Von Chapman says taxation without representation is still happening in the city and the state in regard to North Omaha. Right.
Yeah.
That's the deal, man.
That's like you know, I'm definitely agreeing with Brother Kasim as far as we got to do for self, and you know, Mr. Knight, thank you, Mr. Stewart, saying when you make the boots, as far as you know, when we'll be able to have boots to pull our straps
There you
up.
go.
I agree with that, but how many times did we make boots and the leather was stolen from us? The boots just got stolen right off of our
We made
feet.
the boots for everybody else.
Right, we've been making boots. It's just we ain't been able to put them on ourselves. It's very interesting. Like I'm all for us doing things for ourselves, but we still paying taxes. Their hands are still in our pockets.
Mm,
Something got to be done about that as well.
that's real. We made the boots, made the straps that they pulling up.
Right, exactly. And they stomping on us with them.
Man, Miss Erica Pell says that's exactly how it works. Legacy Crossing was run down until someone could get federal rehab dollars. They already rebranded and leasing units today.
And how much are they? Can the people who was once in them afford them?
This kind of ties into this other story that we got coming up here because what happened was and shout out to I believe it was one somebody sent me, I think it was Wanda Lewis. Shout out to somebody who sent me this news clip And we went around looking for the articles about this news clip. This is another thing about TIF funds, another thing about blighted areas in our community, another thing about their plans, what they're going to try to do in those blighted areas. I'll go on and play the clip.
Yeah, let's go ahead and jump into
Yeah.
it because again, it's talking about what's going on with Southside Terrace, and a property that has a lot of African Americans, a lot of African immigrants living in it, and go
But
ahead and play
even
the clip.
before, I mean, even we heard about that stuff happening. We've been talking about that stuff happening, but what they tagged on to the end was what got my interest. Check this out.
Omaha City Council members approved TIF funding for phase 1 of the Southside Terrace project.
The housing development was built just before World War II and is in need of upgrades. 2 buildings will be knocked down in phase 1, and residents will be relocated into public housing in the general area. Construction for phase 1 is slated to begin in January.
Also discussed today another TIF to demolish the MLK building on Emmett. The plan is to replace it with residential units and a retail branch bank, which will create several permanent jobs for the community.
Okay.
Will it?
Good question. First of all, Southside Terrace, they're already talking about trying people that are going to be able to be moved into projects around that area. Whole lot to unpack with that statement. And then they tagged on the end something that I hadn't heard and seen anywhere, which is that MLK building getting torn down.
Is that talking about the one right there on 30th
Emmett.
by timeout?
I'm not familiar with the street names around there. Is it? They said it's on Emmett. Is that on? Is it Emmett and 30th? Is that the one that we're talking? The one that I'm thinking of is the school. When Brother Umar was here. Dr. Umar was here talking about building schools. They were like, take some of these old abandoned buildings and build some schools in it. And I'm thinking that Martin Luther King building right there on 30th would be perfect. I'm not sure if they're just talking about the same one. I can't. Where is there another one? I'm pretty sure that's the one they're talking about.
I think so.
Development on 30th. They're talking about meaning there's going to be another. There's going to be more housing there. Which is it going to be affordable? Number one. Who's being displaced? Always the question. And then a bank. They're saying that there's going to be a bank there that people in the neighborhood, I guess, can work at. Yeah, this, and TIF dollars for that. So at least the TIF dollars are actually in an actual area where there's abandoned building.
Not an area adjacent.
It's tough, man. It's kind of like it's disheartening sometimes when it's a shame that we can't think about progress in our neighborhoods and feel positive about it. It always feels like here they go, here they come.
Yeah, that woman in the chat saying, I was hoping to see MLK building, former OHA, turned into a child care community center. I mean, that would have been nice, but isn't the early learning center like a block down?
It's too close to too close.
Too close, man.
Too close to the free joint. We can't have that kind of competition. They'll buy up the street before they make anything happen around that area.
Hello. Stacy Jean in the chat.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, she says, I believe that all government programs are deliberately obtuse. Ask anyone who has ever applied for disability. It is not uncommon for legitimately disabled peoples being denied 3-4 times before the government finally decides that, well, damn, you really are disabled and you do have a right to access the funds you worked for your whole life. Yeah, pretty much.
They got
Pretty
come
much.
to your house and call your mama and make sure.
Man, yeah. And then treat you like a criminal. Trying to get yeah. Again, I always ask the question, like, what is the point of the government? Like, what is really going on?
And I want you to really kind of understand like how much of a, I wouldn't say shock, but like how much of a, I come from a place that is hard enough to get any kind of assistance and aid. But that's, Gavin Newsomville in California, Democrat blue state. You know what I'm saying? Like hard enough to stay out of the way of the 3 strikes law and everything else that's going on out there. But the level of hard here, the level of a red state like Nebraska who believes in making sure that your safety net doesn't turn into a hammock, because we're all just a bunch of we're all just, what I'm saying, like nobody deserves
Mhm.
nothing, and we're all just a bunch of people trying to get a handout. And all the hoops you got to jump through to do anything, like you're saying, produces a cat like you who comes out of the world saying, well, what's the point of the government? You grew up in an area that the government was not prone to help you do nothing.
Nah.
And we got a whole generation of people that are coming up right now that have only seen any help from small nonprofit organizations that are fighting over $20,000 checks.
Mm.
That's why it's so
You know what?
revolutionary that the BAA is doing what they're doing. How many organizations out? We couldn't even get Malcolm X Memorial Foundation to thrive in the way after, when it came to the second generation, the generation after, the ones that got the land and the building in the first place. Then trying to get, we're just now getting into a situation over there where there's money coming to the organization, and they're expanding and building finally, sitting over there with a
Man, and
strategic plan that they had since the 80s.
I'm kind of hearing about that. Like, as far as some of the strings attached to the ARPA funds going to the Malcolm X Memorial Foundation,
But they,
and the fact that, again, for a long time there was some autonomy with that land, and that
oh
might be gone.
wow, we got to have them on to talk about that. I'm sorry to hear that. I do know that they're getting other funds besides the ARPA funds. They got some movement happening over there. It'd be interesting to talk to them
Hopefully.
season 7, bring them on.
Hopefully, I just hope, if the 20 million that was allotted for the state, from the state, for Malcolm X Memorial Foundation to build the museum that they're supposed to build to honor brother Malcolm, doesn't come with a bunch of strings and scrutiny from the state.
Right. But my point was that this state is never really about helping. Really, they've left it up, like the senators informed us about this. They're like they left it up to the nonprofit, rich the legacy families, the family foundations, in order to help solve some problems. They don't want the state to do that. We live in a state right now that the Omaha Public School Board doesn't want to. Is refusing more money because they don't want a state handout, or what I'm saying, like they don't want government involvement.
Mhm.
So
No social
right.
programs, the Republican script.
So even though we don't talk too much about what's going on with the Republican script and the Democrat script and so on, you got to kind of remember that you live in a state where that the majority of people, that's what they think. They think that people don't deserve help. It feels like they feel like people don't deserve help, and the help that they are going to give is going to be for charity, through charities, and that's out of the religious goodness, kindness of their Christian hearts, but not because they're a state that thinks they're supposed to be taking care of the people. And there's a level of which you got to say, how much do you want to get taken care of by the state? But there's also people that are in need that don't need to be going through the hoops that they go through. And that's just that's just the deal. The deal is, yeah, we're all here. We're all under this spirit of individualism sometimes, and we're do for self and so on. We're trying to do all this underneath the umbrella of a state and a federal government that ultimately you can take your land by eminent domain if they want to, because that's where we're at. And if we're doing it in a state that money talks, and that's really kind of it. And if you don't have it, you're in a little bit of trouble, because they're definitely not going to put systems in place, to a safety net in place, in a real safety net in place, to help people really kind of do what they need to be doing, let alone build any wealth, let alone go beyond. So it's tough. It's tough to think about a situation like that. And it makes a lot of sense to me to be like, really, like, all right, we're just going independent. I'm not even going to mess with none of this, even though we got to mess with this.
Right.
Period.
Right.
In. Even the BAA got about 8 acres of land. They got to pay taxes on them land every year to keep it.
And what are those property taxes for?
And,
What?
right. And not only that, like, I mean, I know people, I got friends that got their house taken away because they couldn't afford the taxes that year. We were reporting on all these situations where people were sliding underneath and buying people's homes.
Yeah. Finding out about it in the
Find
newspaper.
out about your
or
home
reporting in
newspaper,
Syria.
right? So that's the deal. So do for self in this way definitely means that we got to make sure that the BAA, gets the help that they need, if they even need it, to be able to pay those taxes to keep that land, and hope that the government doesn't have any ideas about what they want to run through there in order to take it. How many times they've done this? How many times they've broken up communities? What's the 75 freeway all about? How did that break up the black community when it was run through? How did they just take people's homes that were in the path of that 75 freeway, just take them and misplace people? So there's a couple battles. I definitely see a couple battles going on. We first got to do for self, and then realize that Brother Kasim says this all the time too. Like, we're in a war. This is a war.
Yeah, yeah. A few people telling us about the disability situation. Miss Erica Felt sharing with her mom again. What is the point, of government? Why are we paying taxes? And I support the idea of paying taxes, but who's managing them? That woman says, my mother was dying of ovarian cancer with other co-diagnoses that prevented work and quality of life. She worked in nonprofit much of her life and was denied twice for disability. Also, Kimmer Snipe in the chat sharing her experience. Thank you. Saying that my dad lived with me until he passed. It took 2 years to get his disability approved. Again, we're still looking for, Brother Capone, Mr. Levi Blake, who was denied 24-hour care twice by the state. So again, where are our tax dollars going? And what is the point of government? Isn't government at least supposed to secure a base level of quality of life? We're not saying everybody's to be in a mansion, but homelessness, the way it is, come on now.
Yep. Kimmer Snipe says Nebraska is ranked in the top 4 of states that denies people for support. Meanwhile, they have millions of dollars waiting to be distributed to needy families. That's the thing too. They got reserves of your tax money sitting around that they won't release. Right.
Yep. Temporary assistance for needy families. And the coffer has just been growing and growing and growing and growing and growing.
Yeah. Rick Fulton is in the chat saying, why put Wayne and McKinney in charge of the money for the airport park when they screwed up the distribution in the first place? Everything about your statement is wrong. It's a very trolly statement. I don't really appreciate it. Wayne and McKinney will never be in charge of that money. If you've been following along with anything that we're talking about, that's not even how the government works. The local government does not work in a way that Wayne and McKinney could be in charge of that money. They're simply trying to push the entities that are in charge of the money now to get it to where they tried to put it in the first place. So you can scrap that for now. No, they didn't give us the ARPA money, and no, they don't want it back. I hear what you're saying. I hear what you're trying to say, but you keep up with the conversation here. I really appreciate it if you did that, because we've been having the senators on several seasons now trying to explain what this situation is going on. They're not taking control of the money. They're just trying to help get it to where it's supposed to go when they got it for us in the first place. And we got to work within the way the government works. There's a checks and balances they put in place for this. They couldn't be in control of the money in the first place. How they look getting the money from the federal government, and then they're in charge of distributing it. It's never been that. So let's get off of that. Rum's Review says all this going on and people are still buying candy and not taking charge of their finances. What you got against buying candy, Mayor Sanchez? As a candy aficionado, I might be a little touched by that one. Mr. Circafel says, meanwhile, Timber Ridge Apartments built Section 8 for a year after I moved my mother out, and then another 9 months after she died. That's where tax dollars go. Big corporations and not the people. That's what I wanted to get to with this last thing that we talked about, with this TIF thing that we were talking about a second ago, about them taking down the Martin Luther King building and then putting up some apartments and a bank that they say will provide some employment there. That's what happened. What has been happening with big corporations coming in and building apartment complexes everywhere that are unaffordable. We haven't even seen any real development from anybody else except for big corporations coming in from out of state to build apartment complexes all up and down Tiff Alley in North Omaha, North downtown Omaha, and places like that. And that's the fear. The fear is, it's a shame because you can say, well, all right, if they're gonna pull some of that, we're kind of in a housing shortage. We need people. We need housing. We definitely need affordable housing, but we need just housing in general too. And if they were gonna build something there that would be accessible, that would be great. But what's probably gonna end up happening is what's been happening this past few years, which is big corporations from out of town coming in, building apartment complexes with the rent starting at $1,100 for a 1-bedroom. That's been what's going on. Sherman Wells, good morning to you, brother. In the chat says that we will never win in this game because we're playing the game by their rules and they don't even follow their own rules. You ain't lying.
Yeah. Man, what we were just talking about something. I think it's DD. I think the DD is breaking the law as far as the funds.
Money going to nonprofits, which wasn't the point.
Right.
Yeah. Which wasn't the point. But again, the way that the state is set up is it feels like they make they put nonprofits in charge of these things a lot. And so how can they even go outside of that? You know what I mean?
Yeah. And also a big shout out to Brother Sherman Wells for making headlines. It's not just Southside Terrace, it's also the Spencer projects that are making news. Big shout out to also you, Brother Sherman Wells and Sister Celeste Butler, for chiming up about this issue about what's going on with this again Spencer projects, not the ones on the 30th side, but the east side, again on the other side of the interstate, as Paul you're kind of alluding to, how 75 split up the North Omaha, goes right through the Spencer projects, and we've seen the development on the 30th side, but the back end of the Spencer projects, it's a ghost town. It's land vacant. I don't know if you have that video teed up, or you want to share this video.
Which one?
Or again,
I have that video teed up.
Well, let me because we got to see like just how dilapidated this area is.
Yeah. In the meantime,
looking bad.
I'm gonna read Brother Kasim's post real quick. He says Terrell McKinney and Justin are definitely keeping these folks' foot off our neck. They are definitely needed and necessary, and I appreciate them both. But while they are doing what they are doing, we still have personal collective responsibility to do for self and not as a secondary. Fully agree. Fully agree with that whole statement there. What happened? I missed it. Did you put the picture up? I missed it.
No, this is a video.
Oh, okay. Yeah, go ahead. Oh man, look at them buildings. That's crazy.
Yeah, man. Check it out.
Nowhere else in the city, but somehow North Omaha is supposed to be okay with this abandoned building wide open. It's totally, and everybody responsible and make the building part of the project is demoed. It's time. It's overdue.
The hope is for us to come together as a community to demand. We're not waiting no time for this. This needs to be tore down like yesterday. You can see one of the units done been on fire. So who's to know if somebody's get trapped in there? It's just a place to manifest trouble, I think so.
I've sent emails to various different people in the city, and absolutely nothing from the city. Just close a blind eye and a blind ear that this even exists. And it's in the middle of a residential neighborhood with children.
Were you able to hear that?
Yeah, I was able to hear it. The internet was kind of chopping it up a little bit, but we got the gist.
Okay.
Yeah, that was.
Oh,
man,
yeah.
Shout out to Celeste Butler for walking the block, man, and keep an eye on. Shout out to Sherman Wells as well. Yeah, I'm sorry. Go ahead. What was your comment on that, buddy?
Yeah, really. Again, I wasn't able to hear, so I didn't know if y'all were able to hear, but hopefully you were. Yeah. But again, like you said, just really wanted to show people the sites, and this is what the current state of the Spencer projects. This is where they are. And again, big shout out to Brother Sherman Wells and Sister Celeste Butler for calling for the tearing down of these. It seems like it's either there's dilapidated, harmful properties that are being left in our community, or they're being taken over, like you said, by multinational corporations that are pricing us out of the community. But when I see this, I think of, I don't know if you remember 8 Mile, the film 8 Mile, where they were burning down the abandoned house because they were saying this is where a lot of drug addicts go. A lot of young girls in the community are being taken there and taken advantage of, and it's just a lot of unsavory things can happen and attract are attracted by these types of environments. And in the article, again, Brother Sherman Wells says you will not find this nowhere else in the city. Nowhere else in the city, again, will you find housing that's left like this. But again, Brother Sherman Wells says, but somehow North Omaha is supposed to be okay with this abandoned building, wide open, mold, mildew, asbestos, as well as people looking for shelter, taking residency in here. It's totally unacceptable. Apparently, 6 buildings have been empty since last summer when the Housing Authority moved people out as a part of a multi-million-dollar federally funded urban revitalization effort. I believe the city received like $1.6 million for this effort. However, Butler and fellow North Omaha community advocate Wells said the building should be torn down immediately. Yet they're left sitting vacant. What say you?
Ms. Wanda Lewis says it's supposed to be gated to keep people out, just like the 30th Street part of the project with new construction materials. They're not even caring enough to gate it off.
Nope.
Safety hazard. And that's in the city where they even allow this to happen. Von Chapman is saying litigation. I agree. I think that there's not enough litigation going on here for some of these issues. You're not gonna appeal to people to make a difference somewhere unless you force them. You kind of force them to step up. Von Chapman says this is intentional neglect and thereby actionable. And I can't help but think about what happens when you see an area like that. The next thing you know, there's TIF adjacent buildings going up for corporations and other places because of our blighted areas. They got to keep some areas blighted around here to keep on getting TIF discounts, money in, state money, rescue money, all kinds of stuff like that all the time. So they got to have some blighted areas in order for that to happen. They just keep on leaving them here.
Man, actually, it's funny y'all saying that, because if you really think about it, the MLK building, which we just learned will be receiving TIF to create new apartments and a bank, is literally like right up the block. It's like 2 blocks west from that area. And Mayor Sanchez agreeing with you, Paul. He says it seems like leaving it is a photo op to prove blight.
Yeah, feel that. Mr. Eric Fell says it's not only physically dangerous, but leaving Spencers like that is emotionally, mentally dangerous. I'm glad you brought that up. Yeah, your kids walking around looking at that mess. That's just like it got me thinking. We might be forming a new form of music around here, because last time I seen some mess like this was when they were burning out buildings in New York, and then hip hop was born
in the 70s. Yeah, war torn Brooklyn.
Yeah, man, bombs over Brooklyn. Sherman Wells says, giving that most child predators are in North Omaha. This is a place that they can sit and wait to see kids riding their bikes on trail and snatch them. Soon as a child is hurt, then everyone is pointing the finger. Why isn't everyone reactionary? We need to be preventative.
There you go. And that's a great point as far as the bike trail. And again, we've been talking about this. We've been talking about this Atlanta, North Omaha, or just Atlanta Omaha connection. And again, the Beltline bike trail and jogging trail that was created down here in Atlanta, you see a lot of it kind of coincided with the tearing down of a lot of projects down here in Atlanta, the dispel, the movement of a lot of people from the city to outskirts, like where I'm at in Decatur or Riverdale, or areas outside of kind of the perimeter of Atlanta. All of these municipalities outside of Atlanta, all these people have been kind of diverted to, and you're kind of seeing that in Omaha. Like, we have this Beltline bike trail that was just made up, and now you have these types of properties that go right along that Beltline. You got to know that they're not going to leave that just sitting there for long, but they're leaving it sitting there long enough to do what they have to do for their plans. What about the community, and what do we feel should be done about this, and how can we mobilize to do something about it?
Yeah. On Sherman's last comment, on his point, I'm thinking about the parents that aren't allowing their kids to go outside because of stuff like this too. It's not just kids who go out and they're around this area, they can get snatched up or they can get hurt going inside these buildings. But it's also the parents who are a little bit more active on or where their kids go and what their kids do. They don't allow them outside in the first place. Like, you got more places like this in the hood than you got parents that are not going to let their kids go outside much at all, because of these kinds of situations. And I'm thinking about how messed up that is. That's messed up too. Them kids can't even go outside and play. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
The psychological and mentally emotional damage that these things cause is real. Not just because the kids are seeing this and growing up in a situation where they're like seeing all this mess, and it's working in their brain as if this is normal, and it's just going, this is just normal life. But also, the psychological weight that's on parents that know that are aware of that are aware of what their kids are going around here seeing. It's messed up. Kimber's asking about what are they building at Spencer now by Spencer. There is definitely development happening. Haven't seen it. So I don't know.
Yeah, there I have. It looks like kind of the pillars and the foundation of a parking garage that's been put there, but it looks like townhomes are being built in that area. Again, you have Spencer East and Spencer West. The whole Spencer projects again was cut into two parts with 75 North splitting right between it, right through the middle of it. And again, the development that Sister Kimmer is talking about is Spencer West, where there has already been funds allotted and development has already started. According to Joni Poor, who's a housing authority CEO, she says that they are disappointed that it has taken this long, this portion of the project. Apparently, those buildings have been sitting vacant for close to a year, actually over a year, almost approaching 2 years now. She says the people were all relocated and the Spencer Homes apartments vacated by June 8th of 2022. Poor says the demolition of Spencer West was completed by December 2022. So that's the construction that we're seeing. And that will be a mixed income housing is underway at the former Spencer West. Also in the article, it says that's part of more than $133 million redevelopment funded in part by a $30 million federal grant through the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development Choice Neighborhoods Initiative. So again, they received a federal grant for the development, yet it seems like development has stalled. According to Poor, she says in an email sent Monday to Omaha World Herald, Spencer East and the former MLK office building were initially scheduled to also be demolished following the demolition of Spencer West. However, the expense didn't fit into the budget. So apparently they needed more money. She says the demolition cost was higher than budgeted due to quote unquote pandemic related inflation and increased costs for lead and asbestos abatement. She also says the housing authority put the demolition of Spencer East and the office building on hold until it could secure funding. So as we see, the office building being the MLK office building, that's moving forward with the recent city council approval of TIF. But yet we're still possibly 4 months out of the Spencer East projects being torn down. So that's still hurry up and wait type game.
Most def. Sherman Wells in the chat says, keep the area looking poor to keep the minds of the people poor. Poor is a mentality. Hopeless is a mentality. And since Vivian got killed in 69, that have done just that for real.
Yeah.
Kimber Snipe says, I'm sure they reached out to Councilwoman Johnson. I'm curious what her response, if she had one, was.
Yeah, she's quoted in the article too, and basically agreeing with Brother Sherman Wells and Sister Butler, saying that this is unacceptable and this is ridiculous. Let's see if I can find the exact quote.
Yeah, why are you doing that?
It says Council.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I found it. It says Council member Juanita Johnson, while touring the site with a reporter Monday, called the situation, quote unquote, incredible and unacceptable, and a risk to children and others in nearby homes, to homeless people seeking shelter, and to city government and the housing authority.
Yep. We'll definitely be having Sister Juanita Johnson on next Councilwoman Juanita Johnson on next season. I ran into her recently, and she talked about. She was like, "Did you see what happened at the last city council meeting?" She had me go back and checking out the city council meeting. Some of the things that she's saying she's going to be holding people accountable for. It seems like she's kind of getting a little bit more active and stepping up here on a few things. So we'll definitely be catching up with her in season 7 and seeing what else that she got going on. Von Chapman is wondering something I'm wondering too about that area too. Did all those displaced get first consideration for housing in the new replacement units being built? We know that that has been promised before. We've heard those promises in previous stuff that we've covered. So I'm anxious to see that too, because it always seems to me like it never happens that way. Yeah. Where do those people go? Where are they going when that stuff gets built? When Spencer West gets built, are the people that were living there and got displaced in the first place are going to be able to come back to this mixed use, this mixed income situation?
I mean, I would say no. I mean, just really thinking about logistically, how does that even happen? Like, okay, you're living somewhere. An entity comes, says, hey, you got to move. We're going to be tearing this down. There's going to be some development here. We got some money. We're going to redevelop. We're going to do some things to it. Where do you go? Do you sign? Like, what kind of lease do you sign? Are you in a year lease? Now, do you say that development is done within the year? Do you just break the year lease and move back? Do you wait till, that lease is over?
We just read it wasn't done in that year. It's been like this for 2 or 3 years.
Exactly. So that's also my point. Like, what are you doing in the meantime?
Yeah, you living somewhere else, and you most likely aren't gonna, go back, pay first and last month rent on a higher priced apartment when you get back, to get back over in the area. I mean, it's just, they can say that you get first dibs, but does that actually happen? It's kind of jacked. Kimmer Snipes, I'm sure they reached out to. Oh, we already said that. Miss Erica Fell says the majority was already empty a few years. My understanding is only a handful of families lived there in the 2020s.
Yep.
Yeah, they long gone. They long gone. Why wouldn't they be? Von Chapman says, did all the displaced people? We just said that Terry Crawford has given us some instructions. She says, step 1, all Chad Chimers get on city council agenda and air your grievances in mass numbers, not 2 or 3 people. Then let's collectively discuss step 2.
There you go.
I like that. I like action items.
Yeah. Actually, speaking of action items, we are kind of running short on time. They want to pivot to something else, if that's all right.
Yep.
And this is something that's going down today. So if you're available around 2 p.m., you might want to make your way down to a 360 Empowerment Networks meeting as Sister Tamika Renee of the North Omaha Community Partnership is bringing out a call to action, saying that she wants the community to stand with her as they plan to call out Tony Connor. She sent us a message saying, good morning. I wanted to make you aware that at today's meeting with 360 Empowerment Network at 2 p.m., NOCP, that's North Omaha Community Partnership, will be taking a stand against Officer Tony Connor, the president of the Omaha Police Officers Association, and the post he made exploiting victim Lamorante Swift. We will also be addressing Sheriff Hansen regarding his action and disregard for the victim, his family, and his community. I'm asking for anyone that is willing to take a stand to be in attendance and join me. They can have their political warfare, but leave the victims, their families, and our community out of it. So big shout out to Sister Tamika, definitely a warrior in this fight. And man, we need some people to show up and pull up and let them know that this ain't all right. You can't just pull pictures from Facebook and go through Facebook and use, our youth, our young men and women who, are laying victim to the same oppression that you're helping to maintain, and use that for your own political gain.
Yeah. This apology ain't enough. It sounds like a sorry not sorry type of thing when you read through this letter. It's definitely. I'm glad that they're calling for action on stepping up here on that. Wish I didn't have to work today, man. I'd be down. I gotta. If you can make it down to that 360, definitely do that in support of speaking out about this. We've been talking about this story and what just happened last show, as a matter of fact. Or show before last, and Brother Sherman Wells was like, that was his family, man. Don't use my family in your mess. He stepped up and said it, and so I'm glad that people are gonna step up and speak out a little bit. It's interesting that they got them to respond in the first place, but again, it's a kind of sorry not sorry kind of feeling that you get when you're reading this through. We're sorry to say that the juvenile justice reforms you've advocated for seems to be falling short, leading to an increased juvenile violence in our city. Like, yeah. I'm not even gonna read all that, man. It's just police officer association on something else, man, for real. It's yeah.
I mean, to this point, it's to be expected, though. We kind of, what the saying says. How's it go? If a person shows you who they are, believe them.
Believe them. Believe that.
There you go.
Shout out to Tamika Renee on sending some of that information over. Also, Sherman Wells, man, sorry, brother. Like, just sorry. Just unfortunate that they thought it was okay to use the family like that. It's crazy. I'd like to have Tony Connor on at the show next season. I wonder if he'd come.
We'll put out the invite.
There's some questions
Most we can do
for that cat, for real.
Some most we can do.
Wanda Lewis says, Paul, I've been seeing you with your camera. You're starting to explore your journalism skills.
Hey.
Yeah. Well, I'm shooting a documentary film right now for Metropolitan Community College. That's one of the things that we're doing. First Guy Omaha has ventured into here. So I'm definitely out with the camera more. And we do have a channel that we're talking about launching in season 7 as well. And it's going to have a whole bunch of work that we've been working on for sure.
Yeah,
so
some content.
Yeah, appreciate you, Wanda Lewis, for bringing that up. Most definitely moving into that area, with all the things that we're doing creatively next season, we also are moving into building out that news desk because we really need that kind of, breaking news style news desk out here in Omaha, in the Black community especially. Because like we say all the time, man, the headlines don't be our headlines. Sometimes our headlines ain't going to be what you read in the paper.
Mm-hmm.
But we create our own media and we create our own headlines, and that's how that works. In the spirit of Black Panther Party with their newspaper, and many other ones that have come up over the scene over the course of history. Yeah, we're doing it with new media, but it's still the same, man. Just reporting on what's going on in the Black community and doing what we do here with this show every time, which is to speak on the things that affect us most. That won't be mainstream headlines. So we're definitely going to be working on that more, using the camera, using broadcast quality situations in order to kind of broadcast things out. News minutes on radio stations. We're working on a whole bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
So
definitely going along with the spirit with BAA, what Brother Kasim is talking about. A part of doing for self and having self-autonomy is the ability to tell your own stories. You need it. You need it.
Yeah. Mr. Erica Felt, when is the meeting? It's the 360 meeting is today at, what was it, 3
2
o'clock?
p.m.
2 p.m.
Today at 2 p.m. Sister Tamika or Brother Sherman, if anybody can give us a location, or if anybody who knows in general, I think Sister Kimmer, I know you go. Where is the meeting? I don't know where it is, but I do know when. Again, today at 2 p.m., the 360 Empowerment Network meeting is going down. And there'll be a confrontation of the police union. And
Yeah. I'm looking at it right now. I'm trying to see where it's at. I've been there several times before. I can't think of why I can't think of this. This is something that the Empowerment Network puts on. So I think it's over there by Boys Town, if I remember correctly. Yeah, we'll look up and find out where that's at. Yeah, that's my problem. It's always in the middle of the day. That's one of the issues with the 360 meeting on Wednesdays at 2. Excuse me. It says located the Empowerment Village at Omaha Home for Boys. Right, that's what I was thinking.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. So that's right there for 52nd and Ames.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. It's unfortunate that it's 2 o'clock on a Wednesday because a lot of people that are working during the day, including myself, can't really make those meetings. So hopefully next season I'll be able to move some things around so I can start making those meetings too. It's apparently where it's going down. We've been talking about people having regular conversations with the mayor, with the police chief. We've had Willie Barney on talking about these things and how they continue to have those meetings. And there's a lot of people that we try to ask to come on to the show too. Go to those meetings, run those meetings. So being at those meetings and talking to these people face to face is going to open up a plethora of things. So shout out to Kimmer, who's holding it down right now, coming back and reporting on things that's going on and talking to people and trying to make some connections and things. We get more heads down there, more representation down there. I think it'll be good to be able to be a part of those things more and be a part of all that. So you can start today if you got some time. If you can get down to the 360 meeting today at 2 o'clock and talk about these things, man. Leave our families out of your reports.
That part.
Man, I'm still having little sore throat issues going on here, man.
Man, well, appreciate you for trying to power through, man. I see see you kind of struggling. You want to
Yeah.
hop into maybe a lightning round before we get out of here? Just about a couple
Uh,
minutes left.
we got 1 minute. Yeah. If we can get it in there, let's go ahead.
Now, again, we'll just kind of wrap up with a couple stories. And maybe these are a little more positive before we get out of here. This coming out of WOWT. Omaha Group earns money to address racial disparities and mental health care. Again, definitely continuing to look at what's going on with the mental health and all the facilities that's been popping up in the community. Really looking for, real help for the community, for the families, and not just more beds. And I do think that this will be that. A big shout out again to IB Black Girl, who we've been giving a lot of shout outs to, man. We're gonna have to bring them on, man. Bring the sister behind that on very, very soon. Because she's doing some good work, and looks like she'll be continuing to do that work, especially after she's won $175,000 in a grant to improve maternal health in Black mothers. The money supports their birthing services programs to train doulas. A doula is someone who provides guidance and support before, during, and after pregnancy. They're advocates, not doctors, which is definitely something we need when you take in consideration the high level of maternal death and stillborns, and especially in women of quote unquote color. 6 News spoke with the local Omaha woman who wished she had someone like that while experiencing complications after giving birth to her second child. Miss Delisha McGee in the article says, I had a lot of pain and really wasn't being listened to after the birth, which caused a lot of excessive bleeding. Our experience isn't unique. She says that it was really a horrific time for me, and no one could explain to me why this was happening to me, and no one gave me answers. So I really felt unheard, unseen. Now, Black women in America are 3 times more likely to die from pregnancy-related issues than white women. That's according to the CDC. Understanding the landscape of being Black, a pregnant woman in America, Ashley Spivey with IB Black Girl wanted to do something about it, and it looks like they will be able to do that with the $175,000 that they just received. So again, big shout out to IB Black Girl, killing the game,
Yep.
always doing big things.
Yep.
And then last
901, we just want to let people know it's 9 o'clock already. So appreciate you guys sticking with us and allowing us to go a little bit past so we can get into these stories here. One more in the lightning round.
Yep. One more, and this is a kind of follow the money type situation. Apparently, there's some government kickbacks that could be coming in 2024 to look out for. So we'll just post this link in the chat if anyone is interested. There's again a lot of money out there. There's all constantly money flowing that we're just not aware of. So hopefully, this article can help you. Again, there's things about Johnson & Johnson and still the ovarian cancer lawsuit. There's still funds going out to that. I know some people in the chat were impacted by that. Homeowners born before 1994, there's funds for you. There's a lot of things to look into. So we're just going to have to post this link in the chat. And again, look into that if you're interested.
Okay. RG is saying y'all should go to 10. Y'all are trying to make us do 3 hours. Well, I'm telling you. Appreciate that very much. That's your lightning round. We'll save these stories for Friday and definitely come back to them. Definitely wanted to show some of the things that are out there for us to benefit from. Real quick, Haps. Don't forget that the celebration for the Reader in El Perico is happening coming up December 16th. Put that on your calendars. They're gonna have a musical lineup, and the whole point is for us to really throw a party celebrating the Reader in El Perico and roast the people responsible for them as well. So it should be a fun time. Free. It's free at the door. Donation to charity is suggested. So you can make a donation there if you want to. But doors open at 6. Come on and celebrate the fact that the Reader existed. It was a great resource, and it had been for several years. It's really unfortunate that they had to stop the presses on it this year. So final party, we'll put that on your calendar. We'll definitely see you there. And also, we just want to talk about Holiday Lights that's going on. It's the big show here, the big end of year show for Benson Theater. It's an original between Bridget St. Bridget and Benson Theater. It's been going well. First week went really well. Second week is going to go even better. So I would suggest you get your tickets there. Thursday is a pay what you can ticket. And then there'll be regular price through Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. But I do have a couple of tickets that I can give away as well for this too. So if you want to plan on coming through next weekend and checking out Holiday Lights at Benson Theater, let me know. And if also you can go to bensontheater.org for more information and tickets. So shout out to Benson Theater and Bridget for doing their thing. Appreciate that too. Also, Tim Clark is putting on a holiday benefit concert that's happening at the Benson Theater as well, Friday and Saturday, December 22nd and 23rd. He's going to have a bunch of people there. Millicent Crawford, Ty Hakeem, Haley Rice, Angeline Mitchell. He's going to have some singers. Tim Clark and Friends, the holiday benefit concert. So come on, check that out.
Okay.
Yeah, check it out, man. He says buy your ticket at bensontheater.org, or you can call 402-991-4333. Group sales, he has sponsorships and things like that. You can call him directly at 402-306-2734. He's raising some funds, and we'll have him on possibly Friday to talk about what he's raising funds for. But check out what's going on with Tim Clark and Friends. Like I say, you're going to have some singers out there. Definitely check that out. Shout out to Benson Theater for sponsoring that as well. So bensontheater.org. Definitely check that out and get your tickets for Tim Clark's as well. Man, this is the biggest link I've ever seen in my life that you just put in the chat. Is that you that just put that in there?
Yeah, I don't even see it.
Oh,
It disappeared on me, so I'm glad I didn't post it again.
Wow, it disappeared.
Glad I didn't post it again.
Yeah, it's huge. That's quite the link. Keatron Cycle in the chat real quick. She says the community is invited to come to Good Shepherd Thursday between 2 and 6 p.m. to pay respects to Ed Poindexter. Services at 10 a.m. Friday at Salem Baptist Church. Thank you for that information. Appreciate that very much.
Thank you.
Again, let me see if I can show that so that people in Facebook can see it as well. Community is invited to come to Good Shepherd Thursday between 2 and 6 to pay respects to Ed Poindexter. Service at 10 a.m. Friday at Salem Baptist Church. If we have any flyer for that, could you please put that in Friends of First Sky Omaha or send me the information? I can do it. And let's definitely do that in honor of Brother Ed Poindexter, man. Come out in force and show, how we feel about that. So it's a shame that Nebraska let that man pass away in prison and not acknowledge his innocence. It's ridiculous. So and then of course the service is at 10 a.m. Friday at Salem Baptist Church. So check it out. Appreciate that very much. Miss Erica Fell says, great show. Thank you for so much to challenge my thinking and dig into. Be good to yourselves by drinking water and minding your peace. Love that. Appreciate that.
Yeah. Thank you.
Buddy, you got some words for the people?
Yeah. Next episode will be the last of the season, but again, we will be back in January, so we definitely appreciate your support. And make sure, we're all taking care of each other, taking care of ourselves, and taking ownership of the community because it is ours. If you're a part of it, then you're responsible. So let's take in that, what that means, and let's make the place a little better than it was when we got there. So we appreciate you, we love you, we thank you as always. You made this place better than it was than when you arrived. So we appreciate your input, joining the conversation, letting your mind be free, letting your voice be heard as always. And let's continue these conversations, man. Tell a friend and tell a friend. Let's go to some of these things if you can make it. Again, it's going down at 2 p.m. today. Calling on OPOA to again answer for their posts. Also, tomorrow is going down. So if you can, please show up and show support for Brother Ed Poindexter. And catch the same time, same place Friday for the last episode of the season. We love you. We thank you. In the meantime, in between time, Paul B.
Yo.
Take it away.
I just want to give a shout out and a good morning to Gwen Easter. Didn't get to say hi to you today. I appreciate your comments. Thanks for coming on in, and appreciate everybody that's in the chat right now. You feels like family when we do this too.
Yeah,
Mika Johnson giving me a remedy. She said, "Paul, crush an aspirin and add it to warm water, gargle and swallow. Hope you feel better soon."
Yes.
Appreciate that. I'm gonna try anything at this point. This thing been lingering for real. So I appreciate that, everybody. Pop says, "Great show. See you Friday." Thanks, Pops. Appreciate you very much. And then call on anybody else who didn't come into the chat today. I'm definitely going to check on Sis and Lil Man and check on anybody else we didn't see in the chat that we normally do. Check on your family members at all times. You never know. So just check on your family members and take care of one another. And just really appreciate everybody who comes in and takes care of us mentally.
Man, thank
in a big way.
Big time.
Good time. Thanks for everybody that joined us today. Shout out to the Omaha tribe elders that allow us to be on this land and speak while we're here. Shout out to our elders that allow us to speak before them. And shout out to you, the chat chimers, that allows us to speak with you. Really appreciate the conversation. If you've missed any parts of this show, you can go back and check it out in its entirety on Facebook and YouTube. I suggest you do both so you can see the chats in both and see all the great comments that are coming through here. The great comments, the great information, the great back and forth. The conversation is always a very, very stirring one, and it's stimulating to say the least. So appreciate everybody, and I also appreciate everybody that's been Boost to the Roots. They're really, really making it happen. If you've joined your neighborhood association, appreciate that very much this season. If you've done any work on any of these things, it's going to be really time to put Boost to the Roots next season because of the election season coming up, legislative season starting. So many things that we can put Boost to the Roots to next, and it's time for us to really do that. So appreciate that very much. RG says, and stay away from them children because kids be dirty. Hashtag kids be dirty. That's real. Wanda Lewis says pecan and sweet potato pies for Christmas. Holla at me, Paul. Hey.
Okay. I'll call winner the sweet potato pound cake. If anybody is yeah, exactly. If anybody is brave enough, to try that.
Wanda, I'm gonna hit you. I'm gonna hit you because I'm a pecan pie freak. I mean, look, I make a pecan pie with amaretto in it and stuff. I'm
okay.
Aficionado with the pecan pies. I'm definitely gonna get down on that. Yeah, that's what this time of year means to me. It means tamales and pecan pies. I'm gonna just say, what's up?
Sounds like a good time.
Miss Erica Feld, I still see you. I'm gonna get with you here in the next day or two, so we can make that exchange. But thank you very much. And like Rome's review says, please hit the like button on YouTube, especially. Tell a friend. We're trying to bring as many people over to YouTube as we can. I think Mayor Sanchez gave us a report of 250 people. We've increased to 250 or 260 or something like that last show. I think he put that in. So appreciate that very much, and everybody who's pushing and checking us out on there. So that's what's up. I make mine with bourbon. That's what I'm talking about. Man.
All right.
Sweet potato pie. You can put a flame on mine. It's Bananas Fosters. Don't let me get started on some.
Oh man, yeah. Take it easy. I still haven't eaten. Take it easy.
Yeah, same here, man. She says I haven't made one since my mother left. Every year we got pecan pie drunk. I heard that. What I'm talking about?
Sounds like a good time.
Funky good time. We're gonna have a good time Friday on our last show. So come back for that. Tell a friend. Really appreciate everybody who comes through here and graces us with their presence. And looking forward to this break coming up. But big things popping in season 7, so stay tuned for that. Meantime, we're gonna get on up. You know what? You read my mind.
Yes, sir.
By
Peace.
the way, Van Glorious. This is protected by the red, the black, and the green. At the crossroads